to this episode of Rise and Thrive. I'm going to be going over B12 supplementation, why it's important, what it is, and where you can find more information about it. I thought this was going to be a super simple thing to do. And the reason that I decided to jump into this is I am 10 days into a raw vegan lifestyle. Raw vegan is different from just being vegan or plant-based because you try not to cook any of the foods. You don't eat anything that has been cooked. Some light dehydration is okay, but the goal is to keep all the enzymes alive. And what I'm really excited about with this raw vegan lifestyle is I know that there is water in foods and it is structured a certain way. And in the past, when I've eaten raw vegan, it's given me a lot of energy. The most I've ever done is 4 months on a new path now, 10 days in. My goal is 6 months, and then we'll see about it after that. But when you start looking up issues that vegans and raw vegans might have, vitamin B12 deficiency comes up a lot. And I've been to these plant nutrition conferences where they'll interview people like Dr. Greger and Doug McDougall, and there's a lot of plant nutrition based doctors who encourage a vegan or plant-based lifestyle, but they all mention B12. I'm like, what is B12? Why is it so important? Why aren't we getting it? And what do you do about it? So B12 is a microorganism. It's not something that our bodies make. It's something that's found in the dirt and the soil. Cows make it because the grass they eat binds with cobalt. If there's cobalt in the grass, that's just a mineral or a metal that's in the soil. And then as the cows ruminate, the bacteria kind of all mixes up with the cobalt and it becomes B12. So a lot of meat eaters traditionally have not suffered from B12 deficiencies. That seems to be changing because of poor farming practices, the way we raise our cattle and all that. So even the cows now need to receive injections of B12. It's a whole complicated, convoluted thing. So there's this thing about, well, do meat eaters, are they superior to vegans? It's like, well, it's just so complicated. But it's very important if you're having symptoms, especially, to start getting tested. The problem is you don't know right away if you're deficient in B12 because it takes a few months for your stores that are within your body to go down. But if after eating vegan for a few months, you're starting to feel lack of energy, any kind of brain fog or other issues, they said numbness in the hands. If you're pregnant, I mean, you're probably getting blood work done anyways and really taking care of that little baby, but it's really important to potentially supplement with B12. Always following the advice of your doctor and looking out for your blood work, of course. Dr. Greger, Michael Greger, if you don't know who he is, then you're welcome. His research is just absolutely amazing. He always says this thing, we do the research so that you don't have to. He kind of has a funny voice, but amazing information with graphics and charts, and he explains exactly why you need what. He goes into different kinds of B12. There's 2 different kinds. One is methyl, and the other is just marketed as regular B12, but he recommends the regular B12. My saying, I think, is I go down the rabbit holes so that you don't have to. We're bringing you things out of these rabbit holes. The B12 conundrum, though, is all over the internet. And the fact is that if you're vegan, you probably should be taking some kind of a B12 supplement. Now, they sell shots. I remember my wife, Erica, who's a nurse, we had a friend who was suffering from MS, and they recommended B12 because sometimes people have MS, like, well, we don't know exactly what's going on. All these other autoimmune conditions, people are like, well, maybe it's a B12 deficiency. And so Erica would administer the shot to her because, I don't know, something about sticking yourself with a needle. It feels a little bit weird, I guess, but she would always have Erica do it. Anyways, there's other ways to get B12 now. And one of the ways is orally. So you can take a supplement and you take it through the mouth. And the idea, though, is that the saliva in your mouth will bind with the B12. You need that saliva. So that's why just taking a pill real quick sometimes doesn't work. You want it to interact with your saliva in your mouth, and it forms a binding protein, and then it helps to release in the stomach. There's also wonderful videos that you can look at as to what happens with B12 when it gets into your system, how is it processed. But the key takeaway here is that if you're taking a supplement, it's nice to take it orally, and it's nice, or sublingually, or in a gummy or something you have to chew up. The way that we offer it is through our green powders. Our green powders are regeneratively farmed, so there's a lot of dirt and grime that gets on the regeneratively farmed stuff, and that bacteria, we make sure it's clean. There's nothing in it that's going to harm you, but that bacteria, as it operates with your saliva, as you drink these drinks, it will help to deliver a shot of B12 to your system. We've had several people on our program who have raised the levels of their B12 after just a few months. So it is very complicated, though. Like, there's this other whole debate on the internet about whether things are too clean, because we used to get B12. It's only become a problem recently. We used to get out of, like, drinking out of rivers and streams, and it was just on all of our food that you'd pull out of the dirt. There's a doctor, I forget his name, but he's like a biohacker, and he wrote a book called Eat Dirt, where he recommends having a dog and living kind of a dirty lifestyle, not always washing your hands or obsessively cleaning everything. And other people say, well, you know, we get B12 deficiency because we're too clean, so we need to stop using hand sanitizers. Some people say just drinking alcohol. There's this big debate I've seen online where people go back and forth of whether or not you should drink alcohol. There's all kinds of reasons not to drink alcohol. I don't know if B12 is one of them, but there's definitely debates to be made over it. Some people say, I don't even know if it's a vitamin, you know, it's just like an organism that's kind of on us and in us and around us. But bottom line, you should probably get tested, especially if you're not feeling well eating vegan or raw vegan. Dr. McDougall, I was watching an interview of his about B12, and he said, he's like, I don't know. He's like, after 40 years of studying this stuff, he's like, I'm not convinced. He said, it just doesn't ring true that you can't get everything that you need in life out of eating fruits and vegetables and a healthy diet. The other thing that's interesting is that some plant-based people, they don't eat enough grains, or some stick just to fruits. So sometimes that causes an issue with it as well. But whatever you're doing, it's really important to get blood work done if you're unsure or if you're having trouble with your energy. The green powders have worked for a lot of people, given a lot of people the energy they need. This has, I think, 250% of the daily recommended dose of B12. And again, like I said, I've had some friends who said their blood work has come back amazing for the first time ever after taking the green drinks. It does take a few months to get it back up, but that's super interesting. I mean, if you're looking for a rabbit hole to go down, B12 is definitely one that's very interesting and worth exploring, and I hope that I shed some light upon what it is here. But there's a lot of conflicting opinions out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about B12? Need it? Don't need it? Have you experienced low levels? I don't want to start a debate, but it is really interesting. All right, have a fantastic day. I hope that you continue to take care of yourself. Please subscribe to this if you like these kind of videos, and I will keep making them. All right, have a great day.